I'm not going to detail too much this aspect of funding. The purpose is not that, but because this is important for any of your solutions of adaptation, you have to have a map of what is happening. So this is it, and also a bit of description of categories. And this, I have two slides here with two tables, which are for you to study home and eventually use as source for keywords in your searches and in your thinking. I only mentioned that you have the public, the government, large companies, and then the entrepreneurs. These are easy to understand as actors. But then you have also venture capitalists. For those of you who don't know what that is, venture capitalist is, to put it simply, a company. For example, me. I take money from those who have it and give it to those who need it. So I have banks, I have private investors, individuals or companies that are putting money into my fund. And I have a commission of judges which evaluate different ideas of startups and select the most suitable, and I fund them. I don't give the money for nothing. I basically buy a share in the of the company. So if I buy all of it, I buy all of it. If I buy only 50%, this is what I have. How much I buy, that's part of my strategy, and how much you sell, you accept to sell, it's part of your strategy. But what happens is that many entrepreneurs have different ideas. They develop it gradually, and when they developed it enough, they sell it. It's viable, they sell it, they start something else. And somebody else that has capacity and interest in developing that buys it or gets employed into it and develops that. And then you have, when this company grows more and more, a group of shareholders with their history, how they become shareholders. Either they are funders of it, I mean at the origin of it, or they bought a share in the company, and so on. So this is what happens. But venture capitalists have an important role in facilitating growth of companies when they need money in their phase of development. So that's not to ignore, but using venture capital or not is not obligatory. It depends on the type of project that you have, type of idea, and your personal plans as well. Do you want this to be the project of your life? Then you better not sell it to capitalists, not even 50%, not even 30%, depends. But if you just find it interesting, but you want help and you don't mind to have partners in it as co-owners, and also to receive money in it because you just want to develop it, to develop that idea, that's fine, then go for it. So just wanted you to be aware of that, just a small introduction. Then here in this table you have a number of bullets which organize a bit different categories that are relevant for a project of business. And that is what motivates, what is the thesis, like what is the idea of that project, the reason for success, what do you think would make this idea succeed, the reasons for failure, so in the mirror, and then the support from venture capitals, and then what can happen in the future. So these are just food for thought for you to take into account when you consider going a private way. You can also go an NGO way, and then the discussion is different. But that's just information for you to use. Now, the next point I want to make is about innovation for sustainability. The short word for that is eco-innovation. And because you have a non-linear behavior of systems with which you have to deal, you cannot just plan it like a step 1, 2, 3, 4 until 25 and then do it one by one. It's done, I have my eco-innovation. It doesn't work like that because you have a lot of loops and feedbacks. what you have to do is to develop gradually through cycles of development. And you start with the main actors, team and network. So look to the left, you have the red boxes. Start with the bottom. Actors, team and network, and then you develop the problem and the options. You co-define those. So I stress co-definition. So together the actors define what is the problem and the potential options. And then you define what is the experimentation method and way. And usually this involves a platform, like I said earlier in the lessons, and the demonstration of the solution that you propose. And then you have the stage of learning, the phase of learning, with 3 stages: results and interpretation of those results. Then lessons that you draw from that, new ideas, updates of what you have, and then preparations for the next cycle of development. So what you have, for example, if my product or service or project is a software to improve the life of people in some sort, then first I make a prototype, I make it run, see what happens, I learn the lessons, and then I make another cycle where I make version 2 of it, version 3, and so on. So this is how you develop. You cannot do everything right from the start. You need to engage a process of evolution through cycles. And while you do that, many others do that. So you are in a system, and you are in an innovation system as well. Here I just present an abstract model of how things happen. Basically you have networks and knowledge for sustainability in the left. To the right you have projects of innovation for sustainability. And in the middle you have to develop your models and tools. And you take your guiding from this network of experts. You use that to direct and to guide projects, and then you learn back, and so on. And at different level you have main actions or actions and results that you do. For the models and tools, very important is the observation to understand what is happening. Imagination, and I stress imagination because maybe some of you underestimate the importance of imagination, but this is how ideas come, this is how connections are made. By the way, Einstein said imagination is more important than information. And then configuration. You play with the puzzle, you create something new with the elements that are on the table, something that nobody else did before and which can solve a problem. And then you have to create a representation of what your partners need to do, and you have that on your left: novelty, reliability and validity of the input, and what the project should provide: solutions, originality and mastery of the topic and of the problem. So that's another example basically of a knowledge map, so that you don't lose something important from your site. I encourage you to create something better than that. That is deliberately simple and abstract, but depending on the project and the ideas that you have, you can develop your own models of knowledge that you need for it. And the final point, many things can happen to drive you to failure. As somebody said, so many things can go wrong and only one thing that can go right. Might not be only one, but it's like 1% to 10 to 99%, something like that. So you have to be very aware of the risks and interconnections. Your purpose in these big puzzles, and inside this big puzzle that prevents you from doing anything, is to create options. When you hear somebody, okay, this is never going to work, your answer should be maybe, and it will surely not work if I don't create an option space for it. First, let's create the chances for the things to work. Let's push a bit things, see what I can do to create a space of options. In between normative values, innovation cultures that may be more or less favorable to innovation, then short-term versus long-term priorities, and then conflicting interest, economic, technology, and then the pulls and tensions between opportunity and risks on the one hand, and the capacity and resources on the other hand. Maybe you're in a company, or just you as a person, you may see an opportunity. If you don't have the capacity and resources, you can't do it. So your first purpose would be to ask yourself, how can I increase my capacity and resources to do that? This is how you start. And by doing that, you increase your space of options. So the way to go, if you look on the left with the arrow, is to merge perspective. Merge perspectives, so that you can reconcile priorities, so that you can create options, so that you have something to test, and this is how you eventually reach the real solutions in the end. So this lesson is also done. At recommended readings, you see another article there. But I could give really much more articles here. I just don't want to crowd you too much with that, and I honestly also prefer that you search yourself for the articles that are relevant to the questions that you ask yourself using Google Scholar. And thank you.